yeah, they've been hunting them. They've raided several houses looking for them.
And on this dark night, under a hazy desert moon, anti-polygamy activist Flora Jessup heading for a rendezvous with two teenage girls.
Let's go get my kids.
A couple of 16-year-olds who have run away from their families in Colorado City and now say they don't want to go back.
I don't want to become some 50-year-old man's wife or something like that.
I want to go to school and get an education.
You want to get an education. How much education have you had thus far?
Probably like 7th grade.
You're a runaway at this point.
I am.
You're a runaway.
Yeah. I don't want what's out there.
You're 16. Do you think they're about to marry you? Would they marry you if you stayed out there?
Yeah.
Soon?
I don't know. I think so.
The two girls, best friends, who share the same first name, Fawn Home and Fawn Broadbent, on the run and hiding out at a safe house on the outskirts of Laverton, Utah. And it's here in the middle of the night the two teenagers place their fates in the hands of a woman they've never met, hoping for a future outside of Colorado City and away from the practice of polygamy.
Can't talk to boys. That's like really wicked. Can't like do anything. Can't watch movies or TV or anything. Can't dress like you want to.
We've always been told that people out here were wicked. I don't believe everyone is wicked. So I tell you a secret, something that I found out when I left. It's true, we're all wicked. But we're not as wicked as them.
You gonna miss your family?
Yes, especially my mother, my little brother and sisters. Yes, my little sister Amelia.
So I don't want to get married out there, and I don't want anything to do with it.
I think that they've got a hard road ahead of them, and I hope that we have enough to give them what they need. My aim is to get these kids to safety ASAP. Top priority.
And for Flora Jessup, that means getting the girls hundreds of miles away from Colorado City as soon as possible. Flora made the same desperate run when she was a teenager, and she knows there will be people out looking for the two Fawns, searchers that will undoubtedly include Colorado City's polygamous cops.
I thought the authorities were supposed to protect the kids, and they don't. They're protecting the criminals. They're protecting the abusers.
And if the girls are caught, Flora knows they will most certainly be returned to Colorado City, and once there, promptly placed into polygamous marriages and impregnated, thereby greatly reducing the risk that they'll ever run again.
So they get locked into these polygamous marriages young, really young, and by the time they're wise enough, old enough to make this decision that they don't want to be here, they've got 3 or 4 kids. And in order for them to leave, they've got to run with children or leave their children there, unprotected.
I think it's wrong.
Ruth Stubbs knows all about being placed into a polygamous marriage. At the age of 16, Ruth was given as a so-called plural wife to a 32-year-old polygamous man who already had 2 wives and nearly 20 children. A man by the name of Rodney Holmes, a guy who also just happens to be a sworn officer on Colorado City's police force.
Ruth, how old were you when you got married?
16.
16 years old. How old were you when you became pregnant with your first child?
16.
16. And this was an arranged marriage by the religious leaders of that town?
Yes.
Yes. They told you who to marry?
Yes.
A marriage arranged, as almost all are in Colorado City, by the town's powerful religious leader, a position today held by a man named Warren Jeffs, a living prophet of God to his thousands of followers. Jeffs lives in this massive, constantly guarded compound on the Utah-Arizona border, behind an 8-foot wall, with dozens of his wives, and perhaps as many as 100 of his children.
I think he's doing wrong. Ruining people's lives, trying to get control of everyone.
It absolutely is a cult. They use brainwashing. They use terror to control these kids.
I think women should have the right to say yes or no, or, I think they should have a right to say what's
what's going on with their life and what's going to go on with their children's life.
Did you have any say like that in your life?
No.
If you look at the definition of cult, it's destroying family. And Warren Jeffs has pulled apart numerous large families in the last 2 years.
Sonny, will you take John and get him the clean shirt off?
Lenore Holm is an outcast in Colorado City, shunned by polygamous faithful ever since she dared challenge the authority of Prophet Warren Jeffs.
He's destroying families, and he's making him more important than a child's own mother or a child's parent. He's saying, don't listen to your parents, listen to me.
And it all started, Lenore says, when her 16-year-old daughter Nicole was given by Warren Jeffs as a plural wife to an already married polygamous man named Win Jessup, a neighbor of Lenore's who already had a wife and 10 children.
Where's the young girl?
I have no idea.
Is she living here with me? Is Mr. Jessup your brother or cousin?
He's my brother, but we're not going to make any further comment.
She's 4 houses down the road, right down the road. We see her driving back and forth with Win Jessup because the church has told her to marry him, and that's what God wants her to do.
And according to polygamous doctrine, a man must have at least 3 wives if he is to make it into the highest realm of heaven, the celestial kingdom. And for a woman, the one and only way to get to heaven's highest realm, to be the obedient wife of a righteous polygamous man.
It terrifies these girls. They see a guy with 6, 7 wives, and he's a rotten man to them. And these young kids are looking at this guy going, shuddering, going, is this guy that they're going to make me marry?
Well, with the young girls, they're like a trophy. And then once a man gets them and takes what he wants, then they're shoved under the rug. And the man is looking for another trophy and another trophy.
Lenore objected to the marriage of her underage daughter and at first took her complaints to the headquarters of Colorado City's polygamous cops.
We're not going to have a camera on in here.
What I got from them is that they're trying to communicate to me that I don't have the right to go in there and make a complaint about the fact that my daughter could be being raped right now by a 39-year-old man.
You were just in talking to the people?
Yes, I was just in talking to them, and I said I want a criminal investigation as to whether Win Jessup has had sex with my daughter.
Lenore then took her case to county officials in Kingman, Arizona.
The church in Colorado City isolated her from me, and yet she's in Colorado City, and I don't even know where she's living.
But once again, no one seemed very interested or able to help track down her daughter.
It's so hard. When I go to bed at night, I'm in tears because I don't know what he's doing to her. The abuse of power in Colorado City led to young women being sexually abused.
Led, you say past tense. Is it still going on?
Yes, it's happening, and it's going to keep happening, and the population in Colorado City is getting bigger, it isn't getting smaller, and it's happening more and more and more.
And in the end, Lenore's daughter did become a young plural bride to a 39-year-old already married man. And as payback for her disobedience, Lenore says Prophet Warren Jeffs then ordered that Lenore and her large family be evicted from their Colorado City home. A home that Lenore's husband, Milton, had built over many years with his own 2 hands.
You built this home, Milton.
Yeah.
And they're now trying to throw you out of it.
Yeah.
And all because of why?
As far as I understand, it's because my wife would give her legal consent for her 16-year-old daughter to marry a guy with a wife and 10 children.
They're going to throw you out of your home because you wouldn't let your 16-year-old daughter marry some guy.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Just really frustrated.
You angry at these people?
All to a degree towards Warren Jeffs.
But a curious little fact about Colorado City, almost all of the land in town is held in a trust called the United Effort Plan. A trust that is completely controlled by Warren Jeffs, meaning, Lenore says, if you get out of line, even if you've built your own home, Warren Jeffs